This is my 2006 Toyota Sequoia. I've owned it for about a year and a half and have put 13,000 miles on it. 10,000 of those miles were done with the Bilstein 5100s. In this video, we're going to go over the initial improvements that I noticed after installing the 5100s and how they've held up over time. The first main benefit I noticed was definitely body control. These are pretty heavy cars. Going around turns, you definitely feel that weight. Once I put the 5100s on, drove a lot better. It could really just handle its weight over the bumps and turns. The only real downside I noticed was the small bump sensitivity. Definitely feel those little bumps on the road quite a bit more than with the stock suspension. On my Sequoia, I have no front or rear sway bar. After putting the 5100s on, I did notice that small bump sensitivity wasn't great, and removing the front sway bar really smoothed everything out, brought it back to pretty much how it drove before, just with a lot better roll control and helping control itself over all the bumps. Off-road is where I really noticed the biggest improvement. I was reaching the bump stops a lot less. I still reached them. These Toyota ones are not very good. I put Perry-Part bump stops on, and that made a night and day difference with the 5100s and the bump stops. But over those quick bumps, definitely feel the small bump sensitivity isn't great, but once you get into the bigger whoops, it really handles the weight of the Sequoia. Taking a look at my setup, I have 5100s on the front and the back. I have the 5100s on stock springs in the front, set to, I believe it is the third ring, which gives you 1 inch of lift. So the front is 1 inch taller than stock. The rear is still stock. Other than the 5100s, springs and ride height are stock. Like I said earlier, I don't have sway bars on the front or the back of the Sequoia, so that really helps with that articulation. I've seen people complain about the rear articulation on the 5100s. I haven't really had any complaints. I can get quite a bit out of it, and not having those sway bars definitely helps a lot with that. I have JBA upper control arms and Perry-Part bump stops. Both of those have made a pretty substantial improvement off-road. Two of my friends that have 5100s are Amariah and Jacob. Jacob has them on his GX470 and Amariah has them on his Silverado. I've been off-roading with both of them. I've heard about their 5100s and really have had no complaints with them. Jacob I've gone out to Ocala with. He's done some pretty fast stuff and the shocks have held up great. I did an off-road trip through Vermont with Amariah and my parents. He took his Silverado and my parents took the Grenadier. He had the same things to say about him as me. Really helped with the weight of his truck to handle a lot better on the road and off-road. Over the fast stuff, I haven't really noticed too much fade as the shocks heat up. They've been pretty good even down in Florida when it's really hot out. Part of what makes the 5100 so great is the cost. Can't really beat them for the money. It's a great way to get your foot into the aftermarket suspension, see what you like about them, what you don't like. I've noticed that I definitely prioritize the body control over the small bump sensitivity, especially because you can just air down when you're off-road, which will really help with that small bump sensitivity. Having the adjustable collar on the front struts is also really nice. You can play around with different spring weights, move them up and down to try different heights, and kind of dial in what you're looking for. That can be really helpful if you're adding weight with something like an aftermarket front bumper, maybe rooftop tent. Lastly, we'll talk about why you don't want to do a spacer lift on the front. The way that most truck suspension works is you have your strut, and then you'll have either 1 or 2 bump stops that contact the lower control arm. If you space out at the top of the strut and push it down, you might not reach the bump stops by the time you bottom out, which will be putting all of that force into the strut, which will very quickly blow it out. If it's your first time here, please subscribe, helps out a ton. If you have a first-gen Sequoia, I have some more videos on my channel specific to those. They could be helpful, go check those out. If you have any experience with 5100s or similar shocks, leave those down in the comments. Curious to see what everyone else thinks. And lastly, if you have any video ideas you want to see, let me know. Thank you for watching.